Welcome to another episode of The Daily Threat, your trusted source for the latest cybersecurity news and insights. Today we have a jam-packed episode for you. We'll be diving into three major stories that have been making waves in the cybersecurity world. So grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's get started. Our first story comes from InfoSecurity magazine, and it's a warning from Microsoft about an alarming increase in business email compromise (BEC) attacks. According to Microsoft's Threat Intelligence Center, cybercriminals are evolving their tactics and becoming more sophisticated in their attempts to defraud businesses. This is an issue that every organization should be aware of, as the risks are significant. So, what exactly is a business email compromise attack, and how are the attackers getting in? Well, BEC attacks involve impersonating executives or other trusted individuals within an organization to trick employees into performing fraudulent actions, such as wire transfers or sharing sensitive information. These attacks often rely on social engineering techniques, including email spoofing and spear phishing. In this recent wave of attacks, the cybercriminals are taking advantage of the increased reliance on remote work and cloud-based communication tools. By compromising employee accounts or exploiting vulnerabilities in email systems, they gain unauthorized access and use it to orchestrate their fraudulent activities. The risks posed by these attacks are tremendous. Businesses can suffer severe financial losses, damage to their reputation, and potential legal and regulatory consequences. Therefore, it's crucial for organizations to implement robust security measures to defend against BEC attacks. So, what can organizations do to protect themselves? Experts recommend a multi-layered approach to security. First and foremost, employee awareness and education are paramount. Organizations should invest in comprehensive cybersecurity training programs to ensure employees understand the risks associated with BEC attacks and can recognize phishing attempts. Secondly, implementing strong email security measures is crucial. This includes deploying advanced spam filters, using email authentication protocols like DMARC, and regularly updating email systems to patch any known vulnerabilities. Furthermore, organizations should enforce strict access controls, such as strong password policies, multi-factor authentication, and regular monitoring and auditing of user accounts. By limiting access to sensitive information and monitoring for unusual activity, organizations can minimize the potential for compromise. Finally, it's important to have an incident response plan in place. This plan should outline the steps to be taken in the event of a BEC attack, including communication protocols, containment measures, and post-incident analysis to identify areas for improvement. Moving on to our next story, we have an alarming report from Wired about phishing risks associated with Google's new ZIP-MOV domains feature. This feature, introduced by Google, allows users to easily share large files by compressing them into a single zip file. However, cybercriminals have found a way to exploit this functionality for their malicious purposes. So, how are the attackers using this? Well, the attackers are creating phishing campaigns where they send emails containing zip files that appear to be legitimate. These emails often masquerade as important documents, invoices, or other business-related content. When recipients open the zip files, they unknowingly execute malware or malicious scripts that compromise their systems or steal sensitive information. The risks associated with these phishing attacks are significant. Once a system is compromised, cybercriminals can gain unauthorized access to confidential data, install ransomware, or use the compromised system as a launching pad for further attacks within the organization. To protect against these phishing risks, it is crucial to follow best practices and exercise caution when receiving emails with zip file attachments. Here are a few recommendations to stay safe. Verify the sender. Before opening any zip file attachment, verify the sender's identity. Check the email address and domain name carefully for any suspicious or misspelled elements. Exercise caution with unexpected attachments. Be cautious when receiving unexpected emails with zip file attachments, especially if they claim to contain urgent or sensitive information. Always double-check with the sender through a separate communication channel to validate the legitimacy of the attachment. Use reliable antivirus and anti-malware software. Ensure that your systems are equipped with up-to-date antivirus and anti-malware software that can detect and block malicious files. Stay informed about phishing techniques. Regularly educate yourself and your employees about the latest phishing techniques and trends. This awareness can help you identify and report potential phishing attempts. Enable advanced threat protection features. If available, enable advanced threat protection features provided by your email service provider or security software. These features can add an additional layer of security by scanning email attachments for potential threats. Remember, vigilance and skepticism are your best allies when it comes to identifying and mitigating phishing risks. By staying informed and implementing best practices, you can significantly reduce the chances of falling victim to these attacks. Now, let's move on to our final story of the day. Experts are warning about the emerging risks associated with voice-based attacks. As reported by InfoSecurity magazine, cybercriminals are finding new ways to exploit voice technologies, including voice assistants and voice-controlled devices. Voice-based attacks can take various forms, including voice phishing, vishing, and voice spoofing. Vishing involves cybercriminals calling unsuspecting individuals and impersonating trusted entities or organizations to extract sensitive information. Voice spoofing, on the other hand, refers to manipulating voice recordings to trick voice recognition systems or voice assistants. The risks posed by these attacks are substantial, as they can lead to identity theft, financial fraud, or unauthorized access to personal or corporate data. Furthermore, voice-controlled devices connected to corporate networks can become entry points for attackers to infiltrate organization systems. To protect against voice-based attacks, it is crucial to implement the following measures. Use strong, unique passwords. Set strong and unique passwords for voice-controlled devices to prevent unauthorized access. Avoid using default or easily guessable passwords. Enable multi-factor authentication. Whenever possible, enable multi-factor authentication for voice-controlled devices to add an extra layer of security. Be cautious with voice commands. Exercise caution when using voice commands with voice assistants. Avoid providing sensitive information or performing critical actions that could be exploited by attackers. Regularly update firmware and software. Keep voice-controlled devices and associated software up to date with the latest patches and security updates. These updates often include security enhancements that address known vulnerabilities. Limit access and connectivity. Evaluate the necessity of connecting voice-controlled devices to corporate networks. If they are connected, ensure they are segregated from critical systems and apply appropriate access controls. Educate employees. Provide training and awareness programs to employees about the risks associated with voice-based attacks. Teach them how to identify and report suspicious calls or interactions with voice-controlled devices. Monitor and analyze voice activities. Implement monitoring and analysis tools to detect anomalies or unusual voice-based activities within the network. This can help identify potential voice-based attacks or unauthorized access attempts. By following these recommendations, organizations can strengthen their defenses against voice-based attacks and mitigate the risks associated with this emerging threat vector. That wraps up today's episode of the Daily Threat. We covered 3 significant stories that highlight the evolving landscape of cyber threats. Remember, it's essential to stay informed, implement best practices, and continuously adapt your security measures to combat these risks. Before we sign off, I want to remind you to subscribe to the Daily Threat for your daily dose of cybersecurity news and insights. Stay ahead of the game and protect yourself and your organization from the ever-evolving threat landscape. The Daily Threat is brought to you by QIT Solutions, your trusted partner in cybersecurity. Thank you for joining us today. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and we'll see you next time on the Daily Threat. Until then, take care.